Hi, my name is Johnny, and in this video I will talk about the subject of people that are chosen by Satan or Lilith to be their vessels in this world that are called avatars. As I said, avatars are people chosen by Satan to be his means of communication, but in Christianity, chosen people are called the saints. So in this image here that I made for the video, I show the similarity of some anime characters and games and the reality. For example, the character named Poison on Street Fighter V and the anime character called Midnight from My Hero Academia. And the other anime character on the evil Power Rangers called X, Is, or E. Even you could grasp the code here, sizers like a sharp cutting weapon, right? But it's just the start without drugs, of course, like one video I made called The Overdose of Truth, right? Funny. And then the next video called The Homicide of Truth, and the next called The Cremation of the Truth, really well made jokes, right? Because she is the Nigredo character from Overlord, which translates back to Albedo. And from here we can go to Bayonetta the game, and Merrily Manson the singer, and to Ally X the female singer, and to this character from Hunter x Hunter. Quite the trip, right? But it's just the start without drugs, of course, like one video I made called The Overdose of Truth, right? Funny. And then the next video called The Homicide of Truth, like one video I made called The Overdose of Truth, right? Funny. And then the next video called The Homicide of Truth, and the next called The Cremation of the Truth. Really well made jokes, right? But it's not a joke. For example, Lady Gaga, that everyone knows today. People should know they are worshipping old gods with new names. Because if you pay attention to the repetition in the appearances of these idols in the music and movies, but mainly in the music industry, you can see much repetition in the same face type and makeup, and the honoring of a particularly being that is known as Lilith. And avatars are present everywhere and can talk to you at the street. For example, sounds crazy, right? But the real thing is God deactivated almost 100% of Adam's DNA code or powers or abilities. So this means that you can't see or hear or fight back, and you need the direct interference of God for you to have any relief from them, like a back pain that is too strong, or headaches, and like a warm pain that is continuous and you need of energy. You have to know it's a demon that is attacking you in the spirit. But you cannot see it. My testimony, for example, I suffered for 1 month and 20 days with lack of air, like being suffocated to death, when sometimes in the spirit I could see a demon strangling me, and no angel did nothing to save me, man. What I am saying is you have to acknowledge this. The spirit realm exists and you don't need to believe in it. and you are being attacked by demons when you are awake, and in the dream when you sleep, returning to the topic of avatars. These musicians that everyone loves are just evil men and women that have sold out to the wrong god that is Lucifer. And Lilith, of course, if you worship female singers or actress or dancers, right? Here in Brazil, we have one of many here called Anitta. Right, she is destroying the youth of many girls and boys by the power of music and sexuality and funk singers, destroying people by the sin of materialism and fornication, because of the easy women of today that sell themselves for a gold credit card, or black in some countries. And another singer that impressed me recently by her change in her appearance, she is called Priscilla, and she painted her hair to red, and her face to look like a beaten prostitute, right? Just like Lilith, some people said that she is trying to look like that actress from the movie The Element X, but in reality is Lilith the artificial girl, or the doll, right, called Barbie in Hannah Montana, the goddess Soul. And also, if you are Japanese or Asian, the Asian goddess like Amaterasu and the Queen of China, just like Lilith. The woman in red, but she is known as the goddess of crows and the Great Witch, and also mainly in the world of today by the name of Virgin Mary. But she is not exactly virgin, so pay attention to the repetition here. For example, the old Virgin Mary by the Catholics, and here the Queen of Babylon, and here the goddess Isis, and here in this anime called Ergo Proxy. She is the real, and in the rock band called Evanescence. Tell me, what is this man? In my opinion, is the repetition of the truth, but people can't see it. But recently this singer called Chapel Roan activated my senses again because of her looks and the honoring of the entity called Lilith. And the Queen of Hell here, she is more like the Virgin Mary, but is not too far from the old looks that is always being repeated in the music videos. And in games, of course, I remember some games like, for example, Tekken 7 with Kazumi, and in Lollipop Chainsaw, and in animes like Chainsaw Man with Makima, and Yoru the War Devil Nero in Black Clover, and Kaguya in Naruto. Perhaps I should talk about Lucifer a little bit more. He is represented too, but more like a concept or a will of something like freedom or revenge, or the hope of the lost. I remember Kurt Cobain from Nirvana and Machine Gun Kelly. There is not too much to say about him, because he uses himself as a concept of faith and a spiritual path that is contrary to God, in my opinion. He is using Lilith mainly because she can dance and sing and invoke the lust on women to make them gay, and on man to make them fall in the sexual sin. She is too useful for Lucifer. And she is the poster girl as always. Just watch this animes here. She is everywhere. And as a testimony, I have to say I had a dream that she was working on the field as a farmer, but with her breasts exposed and with a harvesting cycle in her hand. And that's why I talk so much about her and the proofs. For example, on Attack on Titan, the anime have a character called Ymir, and she is working for an evil king that uses her as a sexual slave and as a weapon, and even killed her to feed her powers to her own children. And you think the story is not being told by repetition? Again, you have to acknowledge that the evil entities like to promote themselves as much as they can, but removing the useful information that could save your soul against them. That's where my work fits itself, I know, and you should know that Jesus is the door out of this, and he can do the battle for you. But it's not just sit and do nothing. You have to fight as a lamb because of the example of Jesus. He defeated Satan by his life without sin, and by working as a preacher of heaven. And finally, speaking as a man of God and with truth, God is speaking constantly that the time is running out, and I should give up on the technology of games, movies, animes, music, even playing guitar, because it gives praise to Satan if it's not for God, who you think will receive the worship that you are doing by singing or playing a stringed instrument. Back in heaven, the angels only use the instruments to praise God, But here is used to lead the frequencies of humanity to death. Just study the 440 Hz and see, and also the flashing of the TV screens is programming. Your man is killing you soft, but in the final stage you will receive the full dose of the real pain in hell. And talking again about that dream I had with Lilith, she was working in the field as a farmer. The singer Jeannie portrayed her really well in that song called Dirty Bike. She is walking in the blood of the saints, and with her breasts exposed it's her, but is also any other victim of the satanic kingdom like Britney Spears, just slaves to the ugly rulers of this world. But the grim part is, if you could imagine that Britney was a boy and was forced to become what he is today. This is the real ugliness of the story. I remember another anime that was called Kaifuku Jutsunari, really dark, but is the simple fact that pretty things are desired by the most evil creatures in this fallen dimension that we call Earth. So my name is Johnny from Johnny the Truth Theory channel on YouTube and BitChute and ad on Brighton. Thank you for watching.